Erika Kirk's. This is a great story. Mm-hmm. Erika Kirk's powerful forgiveness of the man who killed her husband has now inspired Tim Allen, the actor, Tim Allen, to forgive the man who killed his father. This is an amazing story. So we all remember that moment because it was really the talk of the world when Erika Kirk did forgive the man that assassinated her husband.
That man, that young man, I forgive him.
And then she's crying. I just got chills now.
Yeah, me too.
I get chills.
Yep.
Tim Allen was a known conservative. Was 11 years old when a drunk driver swerved into traffic and killed his father. He was in the car, along with other kids coming home from a football game. And Tim Allen says that changed his life. And of course, it did. It would change any kid's life. And it caused problems with his creator, of course, talking about Jesus Christ. So 11 years old, drunk driver, kills his father. And we know that Tim Allen has had substance abuse issues, and he went through a tough time. And I'd be willing to bet that one of the reasons for that was because of the fact that he lost his father at the age of 11. So last night, he posted on X, when Erika Kirk spoke the words of the man who killed her husband, that man, that young man, I forgive him. He says, that moment deeply affected me. He says, I have struggled for over 60 years to forgive the man who killed my dad. I will say those words now as I type, I forgive the man who killed my father. Peace be with you all. Allen wrote. Isn't that amazing? I love that.
Yeah.
Allen, go ahead, John.
I feel like that was really heartfelt, like very sincere.
Absolutely. They say Allen's. And people are listening right now. And I think that there's probably a lot of you, I am certainly one, who holds on to anger and resentment for whatever reason. And I think the power of forgiveness is very underrated. I'm just going to tell you that. I think it's underrated. And I'm going to relay this story yet again. If you're new to the program, then you'll hear this. But years ago, I talked about, and it was something in the news where there was somebody who died, and there was some sort of a deathbed reuniting, where somebody was like, okay, this person's dying. I'm going to get to his deathbed, and we can have some forgiveness and closure. And so and this was like years ago. And so while you had all of these people that were celebrating, oh, this is such a touching story, I was the one guy that was like, oh, this is BS. This is absolute BS. And I went off because I was angry at the fact that they wasted so many good years. You know, this celebrity, whoever it was that was dying, and this deathbed, reuniting. And while everybody else was, saying how this is such a great thing, I said, this is a terrible thing. Because if they can reunite on a deathbed, why could they not have reunited 10 years ago and enjoyed the last 10 years? And I went through this whole thing, which I'm going to spare you folks. But I went through this whole thing on the power of forgiveness and how it is good for you. Not necessarily the person that you're forgiving, but it's good for you to let go of that anger. And so when I talked about that, this is a couple of people, actually, several people, were inspired, but one particular woman I do remember, she was inspired to reconnect with her father, who they had been estranged for a long time. And she reconnected with him, and they had a great relationship for the 4 years before he died. And she had sent me emails at the time thanking me for that monologue and so forth. But you think about holding on to that anger. And I do think that we've all done it. And he has said, going back to Tim Allen, I've had a tumultuous relationship with my Creator ever since. But, when you let go of that anger, and I don't know if you've ever done this, Joan or Sam, but you let go of that anger, and it is like an incredible weight lifted off your shoulders.
For sure.
There was the guy, and I've told this story before, about how a cousin of mine, before my mother passed away, but many years ago now, when my mom was a Donald Trump supporter, that he had disconnected with her, broke her heart, absolutely broke her heart, because she loved this guy. Stood by him through his journey, realizing he was gay, the whole thing. And he couldn't get over the fact that she was a Trump supporter. She forgave him.
Wow.
And I forgave him. And it's not my place to forgive, although he did call me a racist, so I guess I forgive him too. But I carried that with me for a long time, especially after my mom died. But you know what? I forgive him, and I haven't really thought about it much since. I was so angry for so long because I was hurt for my mom. Mm-hmm. And so that power, and I Joan or Sam, you guys could probably chime in on this. The power of forgiveness, I'm sure that that is biblical in nature. But you ever have that constant anger simmering in the back of your mind for like years and years, and it never quite goes away?
Yup.
Uh-huh. I think I don't really know of anybody that's never experienced that, right? We all kind of experience it. It's the human condition.
I think a lot of people experience it with other people that they put blame on for things, and it's even harder when you've turned it on yourself and you don't have that self-realization that you haven't forgiven yourself for something, because that's also huge.
Oh, that forgiving yourself for the mistakes that you have made in your life. And I've made a lot. I've made mistakes in my personal life. I have made mistakes on the air. I've said some things over the years, which I desperately wish that I could take back. But sometimes you just got to forgive yourself. And you've got to say, you know what? I'm not perfect. And
well, there's a process, though.
There is a process. There's that realization, number one, that you made a mistake. And then you've got to understand that you're human. You ask for forgiveness from the people that you may have wronged.
You have to ask for forgiveness from your Creator.
Mm-hmm.
And that, yes, and the Creator.
And part of it is understanding, especially if you're the one in the wrong on something, or you're grappling with your anger that's leading you to be hateful and spiteful. Part of it is accepting that the other side is not going to accept your forgiveness.
Yeah.
And you have to acknowledge that and take that off the table, or it's just going to build more animosity and tension.
I think forgiveness is for you. And then if the other person chooses to accept that forgiveness or not, that's on them. Mm-hmm. I've had people come to me who have wronged me years ago and asked for my forgiveness, and I said absolutely. But people from high school that I've talked about I don't want to get into it, but the people that picked on me in high school as bullied, I'd never really talk about it. But one of those people, one of those persons that bullied me, came back. Years later, found me on Facebook and apologized.
I had that experience as well.
Did you really?
The girls that bullied me in school, at our first class reunion, my girlfriends and I always did the class reunions, organized them. And at the very first one, the chief girl who was the chief antagonist came to me and said, listen, I was so wrong for doing all those things, and I hope you forgive me.
Did you forgive her?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Of course you did.
And
I forgave the person that bullied me.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do?
You're teens at the time. There's other things driving you beyond the right thing to do when you're that young.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I realize now that this guy, and I did make him squirm a little bit. I said, boy, you really were a jerk. And I used another term, but I said, you really were a jerk. But we got over it, and we moved on. And it had obviously been bothering him. It had obviously been bothering him for a long time. But, here's the other thing. Like, if you have someone in your life or used to be in your life that is still living and you're harboring that anger and that ill will for something that happened, I decided long ago to just move on from these things and forgive because they're not worth the brain drain that they were causing me. But, when you forgive somebody, they talk, it's like psychologists have even said that it can reduce your anger, it can reduce your stress, and it helps you see clearer. Like it's just like wiping away all of the cobwebs of resentment and anger and the layers of resentment that build up in your life. And so, like forgiving somebody, it can actually make you feel a lot better. So I do hope that more people are inspired to do what Tim Allen has finally done. It's like 60 years. How old is Tim Allen?
I think you said 72 earlier, right?
I think he's, well, I don't want to, if he's not 72, then, but whatever. It's been decades. It has been decades since Tim Allen.
You got it right. He's 72. So, yeah.
72 years old.
61 years.
And he just decided, you know what? I forgive.
Well, and the full story on the crash, I don't know if you're 100% familiar, but he wasn't allowed near his dad. So it was just him and his dad in the car. And now he's got police and everything holding him back and not allowing to get to his father. So he doesn't understand what's happening on top of that. And I had a childhood pastor put it this way. We get angry at the things that we don't understand. And that anger builds up the resentment. And that anger, as I said in a speech I gave over the weekend, is the devil's cocaine. And so he will use you as long as you are angry to do bad things to other people, to yourself, to those you love. And that forgiveness, as you point, it provides a clarity. And I think ultimately when you believe as Christians in forgiveness, it comes from a holy place because we can forgive each other for wrongdoings and misgivings. But when it comes to the sin that's behind that, there's only one person who can take that away.
There's a great story from Sally on the super text line, and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this. But he said his wife and her father were estranged for 50 years, and his daughter actually never met her grandfather. August 15th, this past August 15th, they went to New York, they reacquainted, reconciled, and they came back on the 25th.
That's awesome.
On the 27th, the father had a massive stroke and died.
That's terrible. But awesome that they were able to reconnect.
The story is make amends now before it's too late.
That's exactly right. Yeah. My mom used to always say, don't put flowers on my grave. See me now, connect with me now.
Yeah.
And she was absolutely right. And I think that I love that story, Sally. And actually the super text line is blowing up with people.
Yes, it is. And a lot of people feel this. I mean, there's a lot of people that are holding on to stuff. Now's the time.
It is. Now is the time. And 5451, actually, I hope that she forgives me. Not that I'm asking for forgiveness. She didn't like my take on Lipscomb in the previous hour.
Yeah.
So here's what she says. To start out, I'm a huge fan. Listen to you guys every day for the last 10 plus years. Thank you. 5451, by the way. With that said, that's always the uh-oh. With that said, I don't like your take today on Lipscomb Academy. And apparently, I don't want to say who this person is, but apparently she's involved with Lipscomb. And she says, you came out against the principal without knowing all the facts. Well, the fact is, and I appreciate it, she was very nice about it. Not only did I have the story from the Tennessee Star, but I have also been in touch with not one, but two parents from Lipscomb who have verified what happened at Lipscomb, and they verified what the Tennessee Star was reporting about all these kids showing up to class in a dressed like Charlie Kirk. So I wasn't just talking out my arse. There was also a couple of parents who I have also been communicating with. Then there was a story from the Tennessee Star. But the thing I like is 5451, unlike Tennessee State University, she and I were able to have a respectful dialogue about it, and we're all, moving on. I think the whole thing with the Tennessee State University, which we've been covering quite a bit. I'm not going to cover it today because Murphy Show did it for like 2.5 hours yesterday. Great conversation. A lot of people called up, but I just feel like, okay, so I'm kind of done with that topic. But Tennessee State University, in my opinion, clearly wrong in how they treated those kids and young adults, the people from Turning Point USA, in not allowing them to have these conversations and be engaged in a conversation, and then lying about how those kids at the school were, what was it, professional and respectful, which, again, apparently is the new mostly peaceful. So I've bounced around to 15 different topics. 6:23 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan, what's coming up at 6:30?
So there's a woman in Gallatin who went to a wedding and committed a big crime, and she's just been convicted on it. Tell you that story coming up. Also, some reactions after James Comey, the former FBI director, was indicted yesterday. We'll give you some of those reactions and what he had to say on Instagram. That's coming up here at 6:30.
FAFO. It's an FAFO Friday when we talk
I think
about...
it's Forgiveness Friday. What do you think?
I like FAFO Friday more.
FAFO and be forgiven.
There you go. That's exactly right.
All right.
It can be Forgiveness Friday too. So, and you know what? If people want to call up and talk about times that they have, it's Friday. If people want to call up and give us their stories about how forgiving someone or being forgiven has changed your life, feel free to call up. You know what I feel like, Joan?
What's that?
I feel like today, need some video. I feel like today is like an after-school special.
That man, that young man, I forgive him.
In honor of Erika Kirk, Tim Allen has gone online and forgiven the man that killed his father 60-something years ago, drunk driver. And he says that he was inspired by Erika Kirk. And we were talking, about the power of forgiveness. And I think that it is an incredibly underrated power because not enough people understand how forgiveness can really change your life and your perspective. I've got a real life, and as far as my life goes, I've got an example of mine coming up. But first, I want to talk to, this is Colby in Spring Hill on WTN. Hey, Colby.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
I'm good.
Back in 2018, my younger brother named Taylor was murdered in Mexico. He was stabbed to death by about 5 different people. They stole his wallet, keys, watch, shoes, iPhone, everything. And it's been 7 years. It'll be 7 years on November 9th this year. And it's hard not to break down right now, but about 20 minutes ago, during the start of you guys' conversation, I was able to forgive the people that did this to him. And I've grappled with it for about 7 years. My family, my parents were able to forgive him or forgive these people. We've never seen them. They never were caught. They're still out there. But sometimes I find it might be easier to forgive people that you haven't seen versus ones that you have. But
yeah.
I was able to forgive them, and it's a weight off my shoulders today.
Colby,
And,
I love that you've been inspired to do that. I'm sorry for your loss. Did they ever find the people that did it?
No, they did find my brother's ID in Oklahoma City. Somebody had came across and tried to use his debit card at a bank in somewhere near Oklahoma City, and that was about 6 months after he was murdered. We've just living to give the fact that we know he's in a better place in heaven, and we got to accept that. He can't bring him back. So
and Colby, based on this conversation, I know that at some point, long way down the road, you and your brother will be reunited.
Thank you.
Bless you,
and
Colby.
that's what keeps me going every day.
Yeah.
It does. And boy, it's tough. I try not to get tired up before going to work, but it just, my life feels like something was lifted off my shoulders by doing that and saying that. Say it out loud, and I think the listeners need to realize that if you can't have forgiveness without God, and you can say the words, but until you actually ask Him,
Yes,
to help you forgive whatever those people have done, no matter what it is, it won't work without God. So.
All right, Colby. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And, congratulations on what you
Yes.
did today. That's awesome.
I'm going to pray for you tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
Colby. That is
was
an amazing story.
Yeah. Holy mackerel.
He also wrote that in a text. And so
Okay.
I don't know about you, but I'm having trouble not crying right now.
Oh, I'm tearing up. I'm tearing up. Sam, what
That
about
was a good
you?
story.
I'm just thinking about the full scorched earth. I commend him. I would have packed my bags for Mexico. I would have found the people.
Yeah.
I would have done unruly, unholy things to seek vengeance. And, props to him for having a better heart.
Absolutely. This is Scott calling from Murfreesboro on WTN. Hey, Scott.
Hey, good morning. First of all, Kobe, God love you and glad to see you be able to move from it. But mine's a little more lighthearted. About a year and a half ago, my wife did this to me, and with you guys, got in the car at 10 to 6 like I do every morning, and you guys have really inspired me to sit down with her tonight and talk about it. So I just really wanted to thank you for that. And what she did was, she made spaghetti one night and used ground sausage instead of just using ground hamburger. And it's really bothered me ever since. But I'm going to talk to her about it tonight and just let it go.
Well, I think that's probably worthy of letting go, Scott, and I appreciate.
She might let go of you. Know what I'm saying?
It's exactly right, Joan.
Scott, thank you. I was fighting back tears, and now I'm hungry.
So I've got my own real life, and I'm going to try to take this lighthearted as best I can. I've never talked about how my mom passed away. But I've had a hard time dealing with this because my mother chose to take her own life. Woo!
You can do it.
And so one of the things that I've talked about is the fact that I was working really hard to get in touch with her in the days leading up to that horrible day. I have been carrying that anger because she never called me. She never sent me a text returning, like nothing. And then the next thing I know, I'm on the phone with my brother. And man, as close of a relationship as I had with my mom, it was great. I couldn't understand why it was that she chose to do what she did and not at least given me some sort of a closure of a final conversation without necessarily telling me what she was going to do, but knowing what she did.
Yeah.
Knowing that I wanted to get in touch with her. And I have been, that was a year and 9 months ago. And this was one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with. But a few weeks ago, I was able to just sit down and prayed, and I forgave her. Because I didn't know what, I think I do know what was going on. I think that when she did it, I think that she was probably having some more of her heart problems and she didn't want to go back into the hospital. But man, I was so angry.
Because you tried to reach out to her. And
I tried to reach out to her and I couldn't get her. And she and I were like, all the time going back and forth, right? And I thought that it was strange that she wasn't getting back to me. And I have a feeling what happened is she got busy, I got busy, and then she started having her heart problems and she did what she did. But, when we went in to her apartment to clean it out, you could tell where she did it. Sparing you all the graphic details. And there was her phone right there.
So you think she may have known that you were trying to contact her?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think that this was such a last minute decision on her part. She had gone to the grocery store and bought pork chops to have for dinner that night.
Wow.
Yeah. And the pork chops were in the refrigerator. And, her boyfriend had come over and discovered everything. And so it was a very last minute thing. And so as I've spoken to myself and God, the reality is that I think that she didn't want to have that final conversation. And I'm not sure why. Maybe because it would have been difficult for her to have. I don't know.
For both of you.
Yeah. I mean, it's lingering there, you know?
Yeah.
It's lingering. But the power of forgiveness, and the reason why last couple weeks I've been thinking about this was just because it's always there. You know what I mean?
It weighs you down.
It does. And it takes up, it occupies space in your brain.
Yeah.
And I decided that it's unnecessary. It's just, I've got to let it go.
Yeah.
At some point, maybe I'll be able to, reconnect with her in heaven. But for me, that has just been a burden that I've had for the last year and 9 months.
So how do you feel now that you've unburdened yourself?
Do you know what's interesting, Joan? So for a year and 9 months or so, it was a constant in my head, kind of like the ringing in my ears from my tinnitus.
Yeah.
It's like that and my tinnitus have been constant. And since I did it, it's like Colby that just called a few minutes ago. I feel so much better. And it's not constantly on my mind. And my reaction to it is different too. Because my reaction isn't as much anger. It's more just, you know what? I'll see you later.
And there are things that you cannot control. You didn't, you were there for her. You loved her.
Yeah, and she knows that.
Yeah, and you did everything that you could to be there for her.
Yeah.
It's not,
And you can't forgive, by the way, people that have passed away. Because again, remember, there's the forgiveness is really for yourself and for the other people. But if the other person has passed away, like this drunk driver with Tim Allen, then it does just really lift it off of your shoulders.
Yep.
Let's see what Greg has to say on WTN. Greg, thanks for calling in. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I didn't expect the show to take a turn like this today, but go ahead, Greg.
Well, I'm glad you did, but now I had a couple of situations. My dad, when I was 12, killed my mother and killed himself. She was 5 months pregnant at the time, and I really never really forced myself to confront for that to forgive my father, but it's something I've worked on all my life. And a few years ago, really, it was 3 days after Phil Valentine died, my son died of COVID. And so I've been really struggling with forgiveness. I'm trying to forgive, my father. I'm trying to forgive Dr. Fauci and
Right.
the Chinese for. I feel like my son was murdered. I feel like a lot of my friends were murdered by that disease because it's man-made. And so, Erika Kirk, when she said what she did the other day, I just sit there and I lost it. But I thought a lot about forgiveness in this last couple of weeks. And like you said, it's for us. It's not for the person that did the deed,
Yeah.
So
How are you feeling now, Greg?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, it's something I've dealt with kind of all my life. I'm a Christian. I've been one since I was 21 years old, but it's, when you're hurt like that, there's a scar there, and you gotta get over the pain and deal with it. I guess I just, in my father's case, I just never confronted it.
Yeah.
Whether or not I had to forgive him or not, and so I think I'm doing pretty good.
You know what? It sounds like you are, Greg. It sounds like you are. I'm glad you shared your story. That is an incredibly compelling story. I mean, people go through a lot. You know what I mean?
And one of the things that that I struggle with sometimes when people are confrontational with you or whatever, you don't know the baggage they carry.
Right.
And so just trying to be compassionate in a difficult situation can be difficult on all of us.
Yeah.
But, just remembering that everybody carries baggage that you don't understand their past. And it's good just to let it go.
Harriet is on line 2 on WTN. Hey, Harriet, go ahead.
Good morning, sir. From a mother's perspective, I think probably she couldn't say goodbye on the phone as just to end a conversation because she probably knew what was on her mind. And I think she did it out of love that she couldn't take your call because she didn't know how to end the call, let alone the rest. So she's okay now. She's at peace, and you need to be at peace too.
Thank you, Harriet. I very much appreciate that perspective, and it means a lot to me. And I think, Joan, Harriet's probably right.
Yeah.
Harriet is probably right. So anyway, got that off my mind. I've been trying to figure out how to address this for the last year and 9 months, and I'm glad I finally talked about the way that my mother died. And I would say that, number one, if you're thinking about doing that, number one, please don't. I'm not going to get into all the things that were going on with my mom. There's a lot of health issues there, and she spent a lot of time in the hospital. But I think that, obviously, a very personal decision. But I think that as it relates to my own family and my own mother, I do understand why she did it. I would never, I don't want to get into the whole suicide thing because I just don't want to get into it right now. But I think that there's a lot of conversation around things like assisted suicide and that kind of thing that we could probably have a conversation about.
Yeah.
Suicide among older Americans has been on the rise. That's also a conversation that we can have, and maybe we will have it another time.